Welcome to this channel. Indian famous Hindu temples. With short description. Today we are presenting another famous temple called Jagannath Temple or Jagannath DJM. Please subscribe for more videos. Jaganath Temple, Puri, Odisha. The Jagannath Temple is an important Hindu temple dedicated to Jaganath, a form of Vishnu, one of the trinity of supreme divinity in Hinduism. Puri is in the state of Odisha on the eastern coast of India. The present temple was rebuilt from the 10th century onwards, on the site of pre-existing temples in the compound but not the main Jagannath temple, and begun by Anantavarman Kadaganga, the first king of the eastern Ganga dynasty. The Puri temple is famous for its annual Ratha Yatra, or chariot festival, in which the three principal deities are pulled on huge and elaborately decorated temple cars. Unlike the stone and metal icons found in most Hindu temples, the image of Jagannath, which gave its name to the English term Juggernaut, is made of wood and is ceremoniously replaced every 12 or 19 years by an exact replica. It is one of the Char Dham pilgrimage sites. The temple is sacred to all Hindus, and especially in those of the Vaishnava traditions. Many great Vaishnava saints like Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Nimbarkacharya, Vallabhacharya, and Ramnanda were closely associated with the temple. Ramanuj established the Amar Mutt near the temple, and Adi Shankaracharya established the Govardhan Math, the seat of one of the four Shankaracharyas. It also has special significance for the followers of Gaudiya Vaishnavism, whose founder Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was attracted to the deity Jagannath and lived in Puri for many years. History. The temple was built by Anantavarman Kadaganga, a king of the Ganga dynasty in the 12th century AD, according to the Kendapatna copper inscription, by his successor Narasimhadeva II. Anantavarman was originally a Shaivite and became a Vaishnavite after conquering the Utkala region, where the temple is located, in 1112 AD. Written in 1134 to 1135 AD. Documents his gift to the temple. Therefore, the construction of the temple must have started shortly after 1112 AD. Illustration of Puri Temple from Linda des Rajas Voyage dans Linda Centrale, 1877. According to a story in the Temple Chronicles, it was founded by Anangabhimadeva II. Different chronicles give the year of construction as 1196, 1197, 1205, 1216 or 1226 differently. This suggests that the construction of the temple was completed or the temple was renovated during the reign of Anantavarman's son Anangabhima. The temple's site further developed during the reign of subsequent kings, including the Ganga dynasty and the Gajapati dynasty.
Deities. Jagannath, Balabhadra and Subhadra are the trinity of deities worshipped in the temple. In the inner sanctum of the temple are sculptures of these three deities carved from the trunk of the sacred neem tree, called Doru, seated on a bejeweled platform or Ratnabedi, along with sculptures of Sudarsana Chakra, Mudnamohan, Sridevi and Vishwadhatri. The villages are decorated with different clothes and ornaments, depending on the season. The worship of these deities dates back to the time when the temple was built and may have originated as an ancient tribal sanctuary. Legends. According to legend, the construction of the first Jagannath temple was commissioned by King Indradyumna, son of Bharata and Sananda, and a Malwa king, mentioned in the Mahabharata and the Puranas. The legendary account as found in the Skanda Purana, Brahma Purana and other Puranas and later Adiya works state that Lord Jagannath was originally worshipped as Lord Nila Madhaba by a Sabar king, tribal chief, named Viswavasu. Having heard about the deity, King Indradyumna sent a Brahmin priest, Vidyapati, to locate the deity, who was worshipped secretly in a dense forest by Viswavasu. Vidyapati tried his best but could not locate the place. But at last he managed to marry Viswavasu's daughter Lalita. On Vidyapati's repeated request, Viswavasu took her blindfolded groom to the cave where Lord Nila Madhaba was worshipped. Vidyapati was very intelligent. On the way, he threw a mustard seed on the ground. The seeds germinated after a few days, and this allowed him to find the pit. When King Indradyumna heard about him, he immediately visited Odisha, to see and worship the deity. But the gods disappeared. The king was disappointed. The god was hidden in the sand. Determined not to return without darshan of the deity, the king fasted on Mount Nila. Then a heavenly voice called out, "You see him." The king then performed a horse sacrifice and built a magnificent temple for Vishnu. The Narasimha Murthy brought by Narada was installed in the temple. The king saw Lord Jagannath in his dream. An astral voice also instructed him to take a fragrant tree from the seashore and make idols from it. Therefore, the king made images of Lord Jagannath, Balabhadra, Subhadra and Chakra Sudarsana from the wood of the divine tree and placed them in the temple. Indradyumna's prayer to Lord Brahma. King Indradyumna erected the tallest statue of Jagannath in the world. Its height was 1,000 cubits. He invited Lord Brahma, the creator of the universe, to consecrate the temple and the images. Brahma came from heaven for this purpose. When he saw the temple, he was very happy. Brahma asked Indradyumna how he, Brahma, could fulfill the king's wish, as he was very pleased with him for building the most beautiful temple for Lord Vishnu. Indradyumna said with folded hands, "Lord, if you are really pleased with me, bless me with one thing, and that is to be harmless and to be the last member of my family." If anyone survived after him, he would only boast as the owner of the temple and not work for the community. Myths of the origin of the temple. The traditional origin story of Lord Jagannath Temple says that the original image of Jaganath, a form of Lord Vishnu, was placed here at the end of Dwapara Yuga near a banyan tree near the shore in the form of Indranila. Or blue jewels appear. It was so amazing that it could give instant moksha, so the god Dharma or Yama tried to hide it in the earth and succeeded. In the Kali Yuga, the Malwa king Indradyumna wanted to find this mysterious image and performed severe penances to achieve his goal. Vishnu then instructed him to go to the shore of Puri and find a floating stick to take a picture of his stick. The king found a stream. He did a yajna from which God Yajna Nrisimha appeared and instructed that Narayana should be made as fourfold expansion, i.e. Paramatma as Vasudeva, his Vyuha as Samkarshana, Yogamaya as Subhadra, and his Vibhava as Sudarsana. Vishwakarma appeared in the form of an artisan and prepared images of Jagannath, Balabhadra and Subhadra from the tree. When this log, radiant with light, was seen floating in the sea, Narada told the king to make 3 idols out of it and place them in a pavilion. Indradyumna got Vishwakarma, the architect of gods, to build a magnificent temple to house the idols, and Vishnu himself appeared in the guise of a carpenter to make the idols on condition that he was to be left undisturbed until he finished the work. But just after 2 weeks, the queen became very anxious. He thought that the carpenter was dead because he did not hear any sound from the temple. Then he asked the king to open the door. So they went to see Vishnu at work, where he abandoned his work and left the idols unfinished. The idol was empty of hands. But a divine voice ordered Indradyumna to install them in the temple. There was also a belief among the people that even though the idol had no hands, it could guard the world and own it. That's the point. Invasions and desecrations of the temple. The temple annals, the Madala Panji records that the Jagannath Temple at Puri has been invaded and plundered 18 times. In 1692, Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb ordered to close the temple until he wanted to reopen it, otherwise it would be demolished. The local Mughal officials who came to carry out the job were requested by the locals, and the temple was merely closed. It was reopened only after Aurangzeb's death in 1707. Entry and Darshan. Non-Hindus are not permitted to enter the temple. Visitors not allowed to enter may view the temple and precinct from the roof of the nearby Raghunandan library and pay their respects to the image of God Jagannath seen at the main entrance to the temple. The temple is open from 5 a.m. to midnight. Unlike many other temples, worshippers can walk around the idols and behind the idols. During special darshan or paramanic darshan, devotees pay a small fee to go directly to the statues. All devotees are allowed to go directly to the deities during the Shahana Mela, general performance, from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. without paying any fee. Cultural integrity. According to Lord Jagannath himself, history says that he was a tribal deity worshipped by the people of Subhadra as a symbol of Narayana. Other legends claim that he is Nilamadhava, a blue stone image of Narayana worshipped by the Aborigines. He was taken to Nilgiri, Blue Mountain, or Nilakala, where he was installed as Sree Jaganath along with Balabhadra and Subhadra. It is also claimed that the wooden images have a distant connection with the system of worshipping wooden poles of the Vanvasi, foresters. Moreover, the Datapatis, who are responsible for performing the temple rituals, are descended from the hill tribes of Odisha. So we can safely say that the beginning of Sukshetra's cultural history can be found in the tribal cultures of Hindus. The three deities are claimed to symbolize Samyak Darshan, Samyak Jnana, and Samyak Sharita, generally regarded as the Ratnatraya, the triple jewel of Jain culture, the mastery of which leads to all knowledge and moksha, salvation. Jagannath is worshipped as Vishnu or Narayana or Krishna, and Lord Balabhadra is worshipped as Shisha. Currently, the deity is considered as Bhairava, installed in the temple complex of Vimla, Devi or consort of Shiva. Finally, we see the fusion of Saivism, Shaktism and Vaishnavism of the Hindu religion, which is reverently intertwined in Sukshetra. Acharya and Jagannath Puri. All the famous acharyas, including Madhvacarya, are known to visit this kshetra. Adi Shankara established his Govardhana Mata here. Guru Nanak visited this place with his disciples Bala and Manda. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu of Gaudiya Vaishnavism stayed here for 24 years and found that the love of God can be spread by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Srimad Vallabhakarya Mahaprabhu visited Jagannath Puri and recited Srimad Bhagwat for 7 days. His place is still known as Baifakji, which roughly translates to seat. This confirms his visit to Puri. A famous incident occurred when Jagadguru Acharya visited Srimad Vallabhakarya Mahaprabhu. A Shastrartha was held among the Brahmins before the king himself asked the 4 questions. Who is the supreme deity? What is the supreme mantra? What is the supreme book? And what is the supreme service? The conversation with many schools continued for many days. A very young teenager Vallabhakaryaji Mahaprabhu also joined the discussion and answered all the questions simultaneously. His answers were accepted and appreciated except by a few dissenting scholars who questioned the answers. Then the discussion continued for a long time. Finally, Sri Vallabhakarya said to ask Lord Jagannath to confirm Sri Vallabh's answers. All the scholars and the king together decided that whatever Lord Jagannath wrote would be considered the final and correct answer. In order to write the answers, pen, ink and paper were left alone in God's stream. After some time, the doors were opened and 4 answers were found to be written. 1. The son of Devki, Krishna, is the god of gods. 2. His name is the supreme of all mantras. 3. The supreme of all scriptures is Bhagavad Gita Devki Putra. 4. His worship is supreme service. The king, along with other scholars, was astonished and announced Sri Vallabh as speaker. Some of the pundits present were jealous of young Sri Vallabh and wanted to test him. The next day was Ekadashi, a day of fasting on which one had to fast from grains. Pundits gave Sri Vallabh rice prasad of Sri Jagannathji, the temple is famous for. If Sri Vallabh ate it, he would break his fast, but if he did not take it, he would be disobeying Lord Jagannath. Sri Vallabh took the prasad in his hands with great respect and reverence. He stayed there in the temple and spent the rest of the day and night explaining the greatness of prasad to the shlokas, and the next morning he ate rice after sunrise. Sikh Arti Gagan Maital was recited by the first Guru Guru Nanak in 1506 or 1508 during his journey to East India, called Udasi, at the revered temple of Jagannath at Puri. This arti is recited daily after recitation of Rira Sahib and Ardas in Harmandir Sahib, Amritsar and Maximum in Gurudwara Sahibs. Char Dham. The temple is one of the holiest Vaishnava Hindu Char Dham, for divine sites also including Rameswaram, Badrinath, Puri and Dwarka. Though the origins are not clearly known, the Advaita school of Hinduism propagated by Sankaracharya, who created Hindu monastic institutions across India, attributes the origin of Char Dham to the seer. The 4 monasteries lie across the 4 corners of India, and their attendant temples are Badrinath Temple at Badrinath in the north, Jagannath Temple at Puri in the east, Dwarkadhish Temple at Dwarka in the west, and Ramanathaswamy Temple at Rameswaram in the south. Though ideologically the temples are divided between the sects of Hinduism, namely Saivism and Vaishnavism, the Char Dham pilgrimage is an all-Hindu affair. There are 4 abodes in Himalayas called Kota Char Dham, Kota meaning small Badrinath, Kedarnath, Gangotri and Yamunotri, all of these lie at the foothills of Himalayas. The name Kota was added in the mid-20th century to distinguish the original Char Dhams. Traveling through the 4 main points in India are considered sacred by Hindus who want to visit these temples once in their lifetime. Usually, the tour starts from the eastern end of Puri and follows a clockwise pattern in the usual way to circumambulate Hindu temples. Structure. The huge temple complex has an area of more than 37,000 square meters and is surrounded by a high fortress wall. This 6.1 m high wall is known as Meghanada Pasheri. Another wall known as Kormbeta surrounds the temple. It contains at least 120 temples and shrines. It is considered one of the greatest monuments of India due to the richness of sculptures and the architectural style of the Aryan temples. The temple has 4 separate substructures. Dula, Vimana or Garbhagriha, Sanctum Sanctorum, where the triune deities are enshrined on the Ratnavedi, pearl throne. In the style of Rekha Dula. Mukashala, front porch. Nadamandir/Nadamandapa, also known as Jagamohan, public/dancing hall, and Bhogamandapa, sacrificial hall. The main temple is a crooked temple and is topped by the Nela Chakra, 8-pointed wheel, of Lord Vishnu. It consists of Ashtadhatu and is considered sacred. Among the existing temples in Orissa, Sree Jagannath Temple is the tallest. The temple tower, built on a stone platform, rises up to 65 meters above the inner sanctum where the deities reside and dominates the surrounding landscape. The pyramidal roofs of the surrounding temples and adjoining halls or mandapas rise in parts to the tower like ridges of mountain peaks. Nila Chakra. Nila Chakra, blue disc, is a disc mounted on the Shikhar of Jagannath Temple. Traditionally, a different flag is flown at the Nile Chakra every day. The flag raised at the Nile Chakra is called the Padita Pavna, purifier of the fallen, and corresponds to the image of the deities enshrined in the temple. The Nila Chakra is a disc with 8 Navagundras engraved on the outer perimeter, all pointing to the flag pole above. It is made of an alloy of 8 metals, Astadhatu, and is 3.5 meters, 11 feet 8 inches, high and around 11 meters, 36 feet, in circumference. In 2010, the Nile Chakra was repaired and restored by the Archaeological Survey of India. The Nila Chakra is distinct from the Sudarsana Chakra, which is located in the inner sanctum of the gods. Nila Chakra is the most revered symbol in Jagannath religion. Nila Chakra is the only physical object whose symbols are used as sacred and considered sacred in Jagannath worship. It symbolizes the protection of Sree Jagannath. Singadwara. Singadwara, which means lion gate in Sanskrit, is one of the 4 gates of the temple and forms the main entrance. Singadwara is so named because there are 2 huge statues of crouching lions on either side of the entrance. The gate faces east and opens onto Bada Danda, or the Great Road. Baisi Pahacha, or the 22-step staircase, leads to the temple complex. To the right of the entrance is an idol of Jagannath, known as Padita Pavana, which means savior of the downtrodden in Sanskrit. In ancient times, when untouchables were not allowed in the temple, they could pray to Padita Pavana. Statues of the 2 guardians of the temple, Jaya and Vijaya, stand on either side of the door. Just before the start of the Rath Yatra, the idols of Jagannath, Balabhadra and Subhadra are taken out of the temple through this gate. On their way back from the Gundicha temple, they have to surrender the goddess Mahalakshmi, whose statue is carved on its door, for neglecting the yatra. Only then will the goddess allow them to enter the temple. In front of the main gate stands a magnificent 16-sided monolithic pillar called Aruna Stamba. This pillar has an idol of Arun, the charioteer of the sun god Surya, on top of it. The important thing about Arun Stamba is that it was earlier in Konark Sun Temple. Later Maratha Guru Brahmachari Gosain brought this pillar from Konark. Other entrances. Apart from Singadwara, the main entrance to the temple, there are 3 other entrances facing north, south and west. They are named after the animal statues they protect. The other entrances are the Hathidvara or Elephant Gate, the Vyagradvara or Tiger Gate, and the Ashwadvara or Horse Gate. Small temples. There are smaller temples and shrines within the temple complex, where active worship takes place regularly. Vimla Temple, Bimala Temple, is considered one of the most important Shaktipeeths and marks the place where the navel of goddess Sati fell. It is located near Rohini Kund in the temple complex. Unless the food offered to Jagannath is offered to goddess Vimla, it is not considered Mahaprasad. Mahalakshmi Temple plays an important role in the rituals of the main temple. The preparation of Naivedya as an offering to Jagannath is said to be supervised by Mahalakshmi. Kanchi Ganesh Temple is dedicated to Achchishta Ganpati. According to tradition, in ancient times, when Gajapati Purushottama married Deva Padmavati, the princess of Kanchi, the king of Kanchipuram, Kanchi, gifted the idol. There are other shrines, including Mukti Mandap, Surya, Sarasvati, Bhuvneshwari, Narasimha, Rama, Hanuman and Ashaneshwara. The Mandapas. There are many mandapas or hypostyle halls on the raised platforms inside the temple, intended for religious gatherings. The best known is the Mukti Mandapa, the assembly hall of the sacred seat of selected eminent Brahmins. Important decisions are made here about the conduct of daily services and holidays. The Dolu Mandapa is notable for its beautiful stone torana or carved arch, which is used to make the procession for the annual Dolu Yatra festival. During the festival, the idol of Dala Gobinda is placed on a swing. Snana Bedi is a rectangular stone platform where idols of Jagannath, Balabhadra and Subhadra are placed for ceremonial bathing during the annual Snana Yatra festival. Daily Bog Offering. The daily offering is offered to Sree Jagannath Dev 6 times a day. These include 1. The morning offering to the Lord, which is his breakfast, is called Gopala Vallabha Bhoga. Breakfast consists of 7 items, namely hua, lahuni, sweetened shredded coconut water, and sugar-sweetened popcorn known as hai, coffee, and baked bananas. 2. Sakala Dupa makes his next offering around 10 a.m. It usually consists of 13 items, including Enduri cake and Mantapoli. 3. Bada Sankudi Boga is the next dish and the offering consists of pahala with curd cheese and kanjipaya. Offerings are made in the Bog Mandapa, about 200 feet from Ratnabedi. This is called Chhatra Bog and was introduced by Adi Shankaracharya in the 8th century to help pilgrims share temple food. 4. Madhyanha Dupa is the next midday sacrifice. 5. The next offering to the Lord is made in the evening around 8 p.m. It is Sandhya Dupa. 6. The last offering to the Lord is called Bada Simhara Bhoga. The Mahaprasad of Lord Jagannath are distributed amongst the devotees near the Ratnavedi inside the frame of Fokaria, which is being drawn by the Puja Pandas using murage. Except for the Gopal Vallabh Bog and Bog Mandap Bhoga, which are distributed in the Anabsar Pindi and Bhoga Mandap respectively. Rosagara. The temple kitchen is the largest in the world. Traditions say that all Mahaprasad cooking in the temple kitchens is overseen by goddess Mahalakshmi, the empress of Srimandar herself, and if the food prepared is wrong, a shadow dog appears outside the temple kitchen as a sign of her displeasure. If a shadow dog is seen, the food is immediately thrown on the ground and a new batch is cooked. All 56 dishes produced are vegetarian and prepared without onions and garlic, as prescribed by Hindu religious texts. Cooking is done only in clay pots with water from 2 special wells near the kitchen called Ganga and Yamuna. The most awaited offering is Kothal Bhoga or Abada, which is offered in the afternoon. After the food is offered to Jagannath and other deities, it is sold in the Ananda Bajara, an open food market inside the temple. Festivals. Full-day services available. There are many festivals that are attended by millions of people every year. The most important festival is the Rath Yatra or Chariot Festival in June. This spectacular festival includes a procession of 3 giant chariots carrying the idols of Jagannath, Balabhadra and Subhadra through the Bada Danda viz. Colony Puri Avenue, to its last destination Gundicha Temple. European observers reported that devotees were crushed under the wheels of these carts, either by accident or even as a form of dignified suicide, similar to the suit. These reports led to the word Juggernaut, which suggests something vast and unstoppable. Many festivals like Dol Yatra in spring and Julan Yatra in monsoon are celebrated by the temples every year. Pavitrotsava and Damanaka Utsava are celebrated after Panchanga or Panjika. There are special ceremonies in the month of Kartika and Pausha. The annual Shodasha Dynatmika or 16-day puja starting 8 days before the Mahalaya month of Ashvin for goddess Vimla and ending on Vijayadashami is of great importance, followed by both the Utsavamurthy of Lord Mudnamohan and Vimla. Pana Sankranti, also known as Vishuva Sankranti and Nisha Sankranti, special rituals are performed in the temple. Chandan Yatra. On Akshaya Tritiya, the Chandan Yatra festival marks the beginning of the construction of Rath Yatra chariots every year. Snana Yatra. On the Purnima of the month of Jesta, the deities are bathed and decorated every year on the occasion of the Snana Yatra. Anavasara or Anasara means holiday. Every year, after the holy festival of Snana Yatra on Jyestha Purnima, the main idols of Jagannath, Balabhadra, Subhadra and Sudarsana go to a secret shrine called Anavasara Gar, where they stay for the next 2 dark weeks, Krishna Paksh. Therefore, devotees are not allowed to see them. Thus, in the Brahmagiri temple located near Alarnath, devotees worship an image of the four-armed Vishnu as a manifestation of Jagannath. Devotees get the first glimpse of the devotees a day before the Rath Yatra, called Navayavana. It is said that the deities fall in fever after taking a huge bath, and they are treated by the special servants named Datapatis for 15 days. During this period, cooked food is not offered to the deities. Rath Yatra at Puri. The Jagannath triad are usually worshipped in the sanctum of the temple at Puri, but once during the month of Asada, rainy season of Orissa, usually falling in month of June or July, they are brought out onto the Bada Danda, main street of Puri, and travel 3 kilometers to the Sree Gundicha Temple in huge chariots, Ratha, allowing the public to have Darsana, holy view. This festival is known as Rath Yatra, meaning the journey, Yatra, of the chariots, Ratha. The Rathas are huge wheeled wooden structures, which are built anew every year and are pulled by the devotees. The chariot for Jagannath is approximately 45 feet high and 35 feet square and takes about 2 months to construct. The artists and painters of Puri decorate the cars and paint flower petals and other designs on the wheels, the wood-carved charioteer and horses, and the inverted lotuses on the wall behind the throne. The huge chariots of Jagannath pulled during Rath Yatra is the etymological origin of the English word Juggernaut. 63. The Rath Yatra is also termed as the Sree Gundicha Yatra. The most significant ritual associated with the Rath Yatra is the Charapahara. During the festival, the Gajapati king wears the outfit of a sweeper and sweeps all around the deities and chariots in the Charapahara, sweeping with water, ritual. The Gajapati king cleanses the road before the chariots with a gold-handled broom and sprinkles sandalwood water and powder with utmost devotion. As per the custom, although the Gajapati king has been considered the most exalted person in the Kalingan kingdom, he still renders the menial service to Jagannath. This ritual signified that under the lordship of Jagannath, there is no distinction between the powerful sovereign Gajapati king and the most humble devotee. Charapahara is held on 2 days, on the first day of the Ratha Yatra, when the deities are taken to Garden House at Mausima Temple, and again on the last day of the festival, when the deities are ceremoniously brought back to the Sri Mandir. As per another ritual, when the deities are taken out from the Sri Mandir to the chariots in Pahandi Vijay. Illustration of Rath Yatra, Puri, from Jagannath Temple account, 1895. In the Rath Yatra, the three deities are brought in chariots from Jagannath Temple to Gundicha Temple, where they stay for 9 days. After that, the deities return to the Sree Mandir on the chariots in the Bahuta Yatra. On the way back, the three chariots stop at the Mausi Ma Temple and offer the deities potapita, a type of baked cake usually eaten only by the people of Odisha,